Hey everybody, I'm Edward Villanova. You might know me from the podcast Eddie V's Horror Show, or you might not, considering that I only have about 20 subscribers right now. Hopefully that number will increase soon. But I thought I would take a little time to actually make one of these videos that I keep talking about doing on the podcast. So here I am. I think that today is a good day for doing this because I'm here at work. Actually, this is what I do when I'm not writing or podcasting, and I'm the only one in the building because I'm working night shift tonight. And how is that possible? Who works night shift anymore? Security. That's who works night shift anymore. And I gotta say, jobs like these are a writer's best friend. I talk a lot about writing on my podcast. I'm a horror writer, and I like to give tips and pointers to other authors, especially horror authors, but really authors of any kind. Working in security, especially overnight, really has perks for an author. I get to do basically whatever I want to. I'm on camera, like the whole building is, but if I'm sitting at a computer working on a novel, it looks a lot like sitting at a computer and doing any given thing that's security related. Plus, I mean, they know you're here overnight. I mean, most guards will sit at the desk and watch movies or play video games, and nobody cares because there's nothing to do. I have my security monitors that I watch all night. Nothing happens on them. This is a big echoey building. It's not like I'm not gonna know if somebody's breaking in. It would be loud. And yeah, I can see just about every point of entry on the cameras. So it's not like I'm not doing my job here if I'm writing at work. I don't usually work night shift anymore. I've been working security long enough now that I've kind of moved up. They don't usually give me the bottom tier jobs anymore. But today I'm filling in for somebody and I am working overnight. And I'll be honest, I kind of miss it because working during the day, I have to deal with people a lot more. I can't just sit down and write and work on all the things that I want to work on. I have to actually do the work I'm paid to do, like a mook. So working overnight is a nice change of pace. It's what's currently allowing me to make this video. I do miss working nights, especially as a horror writer, because there's something about walking around a big, empty, mostly dark building in the middle of the night that really gets your imagination going. And then being able to sort of retreat to the well-lit security desk where I know everything's nice and safe and I'm not gonna scare myself shitless writing spooky things in the dark. Or maybe I should. Maybe I should turn off the lights in here and try to write in the dark. Nope, that's a bad idea. There's something about clicking through all these CCTV camera views that makes me think about, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's, or anything else that capitalizes on how terrifying CCTV camera views can be in the middle of the night. One thing I miss about working overnight is working with other overnight guards. There's something about working security overnight that makes people into the sort of superstitious that you only usually get with old sailors and stuff like that. You get guards all the time that say things like, especially if they've been working the site for a while, make sure you don't go into the east break room on the fourth floor between 12:01 and 12:11 because sometimes the gray lady shows up. I remember one time I was new at a post, an overnight shift. This one guard told me that he kept having to call housekeeping because at least once or twice a week he would find footprints going up the wall of this one office. I never encountered that particular paranormal phenomenon, but he swore that he had to make that call every once in a while. I remember this one time I was working an overnight post. It was a pretty large post, so there were a lot of guards on site, even overnight. And somebody found a voodoo doll laying on the ground of the parking garage. So they brought it inside and they tried to figure out who it belonged to. And so we called one of the supervisors, and she came over and she said, "Oh, I know who this belongs to. He came in about a month ago and said that he lost a voodoo doll. We all thought he was crazy, but here's a voodoo doll. I don't know where it was for a whole month, but it finally turned up." And everybody was freaked out by it. Like, nobody wanted to touch it. People were like pushing it around on the desk with pencils and pushing it further away from them. Like, oh man, I don't want to, that's too close to me. I don't want to breathe on it, and all sorts of crazy, superstitious stuff like that. So I decided to have a little fun with them. I took a picture of it, and then I used this app on my phone to superimpose like a little ghosty face on the head of the voodoo doll. And then I turned to one of my coworkers and I said, "Does this picture look different than the doll itself to you?" And he looked at it and he was like, "No, I don't think it looks the same to me, but oh, wait a minute. Dude, there's a face on this." And I almost laughed right then. I had to keep a straight face, but I was like, man, I didn't want to say that, but that's what I thought too. I was hoping maybe you'd see something else and I'd figure out what it really was. But if you're seeing a face too, that kind of freaks me out. And it was like, man, that is freaky. I don't want to touch this thing. He actually got on the phone. He called the supervisor back over. She came back over. She looked at the doll. She looked at my phone. She called some other people over from across the street where more of our guards worked. A bunch of them came over, and then she said, "There's a lot of people over there that they really can't leave their post to come over and see this. Would you send me that picture?" And so I said, "Sure." And I sent her the picture, and then I deleted the doctored image off my phone. So it was just the original picture of the voodoo doll without the ghost face on it. I heard her phone ding, so I knew she got it. And then I looked at my phone, I pulled up the undoctored image, and I was like, "Hey, the face is gone. What happened to it?" And she looked at my phone. She saw there was no ghost face on the voodoo doll anymore. She looked at her phone. She saw it was there, and she was like, "It's in my phone. You sent it to my phone. The ghost is in my phone." I kept that going for several hours before I finally came clean. I still kind of wish I'd just let it go and let that be like one of the legends of the site or whatever. Working overnight, especially if not a whole lot's going on, really lends itself to superstition and, I don't know, just letting your mind play tricks on you. I remember this other time, everybody was all worked up about the 17th floor of the building. It was a new tower. There was 4 towers on the site, and the 4th tower was the newest one. The day they opened the office in the tower on the 17th floor, somebody died of a heart attack. And ever since that day, all the guards said it was haunted. And a lot of people said they saw things up there, especially when the lights were off, especially on CCTV, because, I mean, let's be honest, CCTV can look creepy, especially in the middle of the night. No one wanted to go up there. Even people who were supposed to go up there on rounds, they would skip it. So I went up there and I decided to just show everybody that it was no big deal. So I went up to the 17th floor, and one of my friends was down in the camera room, and he was following me with the CCTV cameras. I went through all these different offices, shined my light around. I was on the radio telling them what I saw, which is basically nothing. A lot of empty desks, water coolers, filing cabinets, potted plants, things you find in offices. Certainly nothing to write home about. So then my friend comes on the radio and he says, "Hey, I see something weird going on in conference room A2. Can you go over there and check it out, see what's going on in there?" That it looked like there was somebody in the conference room. So I went over to the door. The light was off. I opened the door. I looked in, shot my light around. I didn't see anybody. So my friend says on the radio, "Are you sure you don't see anything in there?" And I said, "Yeah, there's nobody in here, man. I'm in the room right now. There's nobody in here. So he said, you don't see anything over there in the corner by the filing cabinet? And I said, no, I don't see anything over there at all. I shine my light all around. I looked under the table. I looked around for anything, any shadows or anything he could be seeing. And I said, no, I don't see a thing. And he said, I think you need to get out of that conference room. And I said, I don't know what it is you're seeing, but I think I'm fine. And he said, man, I'm telling you, you need to get back here. And I just stood there for a little bit, kind of being an ass, like, I think you're trying to scare me and it's not going to work. I'd even like closed the door and turned off my flashlight at one point. And he was like, are you okay? Can you still hear me on the radio? What's going on? Are you okay? And finally I left the room and I came back in. And then he rolled the footage back and he showed me what he was seeing. And it did look like there was like an old woman or something standing next to that filing cabinet. And, just standing perfectly still. I don't know what it was. At one point, I even was like standing right next to her, whatever. I mean, it didn't respond to me. I don't think it was a ghost or anything. But I'll be honest, it did freak me out a little bit because it looked like there was an old lady in the room. I mean, the person that died of a heart attack was a guy, so I don't think it was the ghost of the person who died, but, I don't know. I'm more or less a skeptic. I don't generally believe most ghost stories. I think that there are things that we can't explain with science, but most stories like that, I don't know, I have a hard time believing. Even having seen that on CCTV, I have a very hard time even considering could have been a ghost or whatever. Certainly spooky and honestly jarring to see on CCTV. Me standing there being an ass on camera saying dumb shit over the radio, and then seeing something that looks genuinely spooky in the room with me. It was a trip seeing that. The weird thing is, like a few minutes later after I left the room, you couldn't see it anymore. It's like it had just disappeared. But even still, I don't know, could have been maybe there was a bug on the lens or something. I don't know. I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying I'm not the kind of person to generally believe in that kind of thing. Which might be strange for a horror author, I don't know. I don't usually believe those stories. They sure are fun to write, though. And it's things like that that really get your imagination going. And I really believe that if you're putting those ideas down on paper, instead of just letting them fester in your mind, I think that's a lot healthier than allowing your mind to just go with things, because you end up believing in things like that, letting things like that freak you out. And I mean, if you believe in ghosts, no offense or anything, you're free to believe whatever you want to believe, but I've never really been afraid of things like that, dark rooms or ghost stories. I really think that putting those things down on paper, putting them to use, makes you the master of that idea. So if you're somebody if you do like to write and spooky stuff like that really gets to you and creeps you out, maybe try writing down a story or two. I know before I tried writing horror, I used to be freaked out by things. Of course, I started writing horror pretty young, so about when it was age appropriate to be afraid of the dark, I guess. It wasn't long after that sort of thing didn't really scare me anymore. So maybe there's something to that. And if you are a writer and you struggle to find time to write, and if you happen to be looking for a new job, you might consider security. I mean, it's been a lifesaver for me as far as being able to have time to write the way that I want to. Tonight, there's not going to be anything that happens. This is a 12-hour shift, so I'll probably sit here for the next 10 hours or so and write after I'm done making this video. So it should be a productive night for me. Of course, I say that, and I'm sure this is going to be the night the fucking building burns down or some shit. And here's a security pro tip. Eventually, caffeine doesn't work for you as well as it used to. And coffee, you can drink plenty of it, and you'll still be falling asleep. Energy drinks, you can drink until you're sick, and you'll still be falling asleep in the chair because you're up here for 8, 10, sometimes 12 hours with nobody else in the building. So what I do when I just can't stay awake, I turn to my good friend Sriracha. Even if caffeine does nothing for you anymore, even if cocaine makes you feel sleepy, this shit will wake you up. Zesty. And there is no way that I can fall asleep right now. Because would you fall asleep if you were self-immolating? I don't think so. I like spicy stuff, but that'll kick you in the ass. That'll keep you awake. Alright guys, I hope this video is fun to watch. There should be more like this coming in the future with a little better quality, hopefully. This was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I decided to do. I wasn't planning on shooting a video tonight, but I'm up here with nothing to do but write and record videos. Damn Sriracha, oh my gosh, still sweating. I'm serious though, that stuff will keep you awake. Thanks for watching. If you don't already listen to my podcast, Eddie V's Horror Show, check it out on Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Basically, anywhere you find podcasts, you can find Eddie V's Horror Show. Check out my website too, edwardvillanova.com. You can find all my podcasts there. I have a merch store with a lot of horror accoutrements, t-shirts, phone cases, that sort of thing. And since this is YouTube, no video is complete without me inviting you to like, share, and subscribe, comment, do all the things, do all the YouTube things. All right, thanks for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you next time.